My name is Sergii, and I'm Director of IT for Ukrenergo. It's a state-owned enterprise. And actually, yesterday, it was a thesis that electricity infrastructure, electricity utilities is the most important, the most critical over all infrastructures. And in our case, transmission system operator, as we thought, it's in this list of electrical utilities, the most important for the country. In Ukraine, we have quite different approach in creating the levels of electricity infrastructure, and transmission system operator is the company which not produce electricity, not sell electricity, and only transport electricity from generation companies to distribution company, so-called DSOs. Ukrenergo operates grid over the whole country of Ukraine with level of electricity voltage starting from 220 kilovolts up to 750. So the most powerful lines in Ukraine, we have, let's say, a dozen of them is 750 kVs. For now, we control over 94 substations over the Ukraine, I mean substations of Ukrenergo, and a lot of them still lost for sometimes during war conditions and current situation. To move forward with presentation, I need to add some context what exactly was going on in Ukraine last years. I would say before the beginning of the war last year, Ukrainian grid was connected to Russia and synchronized with Russia. Synchronizations means that our grid and Russia's grid works with the same frequency. It means that if one or other country have some troubles or issues with electricity, the neighbors could help with additional power to push power to those grids which suffer a little bit. But in 2017, our company, on behalf of the country, signed a contract with European, let's say, organization which called ENSOI. It's an association of all transmission system operators in continental Europe. And signing those documents, we received a plan, let's say a number of steps for approximately 7 years, which we should finish or, let's say, make them done to synchronize with European DSOs. And we were, let's say, stepping by those plans year by year, and 2022, last year, the year of the war, was special because after several years of preparation, we've come to the point to make two very important tests. We call them those tests isolated modes. It means that in winter, in February, we should operate alone without our neighbors. And in summer of 2002, we planned to, let's say, go through the same isolated mode. And actually, we disconnected from Russia right before few hours before the war started. So we go alone for a week, but actually we didn't return back from obvious reasons. When we, let's say, completed a little bit with context, I will back to the main topic of the presentation. And our journey with cybersecurity in Ukrenergo started, I think, in 2016, when, in result of cyber attack, hackers could stop one of our substations. Again, because we are transmission system operator, we transmit electricity and provide a lot of power to distribution system operators, and this huge malfunction of our substation in result caused problems within pretty big area around our substation. Later on in 17th, we met with NotPetya. This case was mentioned yesterday. And actually, after those two cases and more but smallest cases, our management decided that we should to start, let's say, our plan to renovate cybersecurity in Ukrenergo. And first, we did an audit, internal audit, which, by the way, we repeat every year. It's in accordance to ISO 27001, but I touch this topic a little bit later. In 2018, after we created this audit, we came up with a plan, with a strategy, which, as we think, cover the most critical areas of our informational and cyber security. We agreed, or let's say discussed this plan with authorities. In Ukraine, we have different several authorities connected with cyber area. And in the middle of 2019, we adopted, formally signed the plan. Those plan was, let's say, filled with dozens of projects which we started, and actually we almost complete the first plan in 2022. We have only two projects left over, but in the obvious problems. During those years, since 2018, we've obviously created a team. They reported to me, to CIO. It's not usual approach to, let's say, create cybersecurity under IT director, but in our case, it works. The department contains of 4 smaller groups. One is connected with audits, with standardization, with user awareness. So they're preparing training materials for our customers, for our, employees. They care about our internal processes. I will touch a little bit later. The most interesting group is Security Operational Center. We've created very professional and very motivated command by the way, sons took their role in this preparation of my specialists. We are working with incidents. So the main reason of this security operations center is, let's say, detect incidents and react for them. As well, they are implementing new systems or new features if we needed them. Small group, the third group connected with such systems like antiviruses, perimeter firewalls, WAFs, and other stuff. And the fourth group are more in informational security rather than cybersecurity. They works with data leakage prevention system, with IDM, with users, grants and revokes the roles. Our specialists, our engineers participate as much conferences and hackathons as we can. Last year, I mean 2022, it's tougher than earlier, but still we make a good results with those competitions. Important thing from our side is this standardization, and yesterday it was a lot discussion about standardizations. We choose ISO 27001, sorry, for the let's say the standard which we comply with. It's because then in Ukraine we had no clear legislation in this area yet. But this specific 27001 is recognized and very, let's say, important in Ukraine. We've created a lot of processes, a lot of internal documents, and probably 3 years ago, we've done our first certification audit. We received this compliance certificate. We cover the whole bunch of processes we've performing in Ukrenergo. So we are okay with the standards, and each year, it's already 2 times we've finished the let's say check audit. So each year we repeat the procedure of standardization. And we, as mentioned, we've created a lot of projects. We created a lot of specific for cybersecurity, informational security systems. On perimeter, we are using firewalls and DDoS defenses. I will show later that DDoS is pretty important. I mean, DDoS defense is pretty important for us in current situation. We use a lot of systems very specific, like deception or honeypots, like UEBA, like SOAR, CM. By the way, the core of the whole SOC is obviously CM system, which for now process more than 1 billion USB events, raw events by month. And this correlation rules creates thousands and thousands incidents which we, let's say, check if they are positive, if they are real incidents, and if they are, we process them. Talking about the systems, all those which are marked like blue color, we implemented during our according with our plan, and 2 systems was adopted during the war situation. So we added cloud WAF. It helps a lot with DDoS attacks. And we added EDR to increase our possibility to protect our desktops. If we are talking about the first months of the war, we, by the way, I'm honored to say that no one attempt penetrated our perimeter, so all attacks missed their goals. But we face it with a lot of DDoS. The number of DDoS attacks raised in 10 times, maybe in 20 times, comparing to previous years. I'll show you. We gather the statistic for each day, the number of incidents by the categories for more than 3 years for now, maybe 4 years. And we can compare the quantity of those events now and then. We faced a lot of phishing, a lot of attempts to send these malicious emails and get credentials from our users, from our employees. A lot of those phishing attempts was designed specifically for us. So hackers created, let's say, emails very similar to our service desk notification, or with some internal emails, informational emails. A lot situation with scanning. It's not, let's say, too dangerous for us. I mean, the scanning itself, but sometimes the scans looks weird. For example, we've catch several times that Russians agency who care about security of government, so-called FSO, scanned our addresses without hiding. So they used their real IP. We don't know why they do such approach. The VPNs exists, but they used their well-known IP addresses. The situation for Ukrenergo was not similar to the whole country, but in our case, as I told, we've been preparing for isolated mode, and we started disconnecting from Russia on the 23rd of February, and we've thought we've been prepared to possible attacks, and actually we've been lucky because my team were on the night shift those day, and they reacted very let's say, fast to all what started happening right before the war. Just to demonstrate how the counts of incidents change during the war, the vertical red line means the 24th of February 2022. Later on, as you can see, the number of events decline a little bit. It's either on the average level or maybe a little bit higher the average level. For now, we almost returned to, let's say, normal number of situations, but except the DOS. For Ukraine, the number of events were different. It's information gathered from different sources. We definitely not monitor by ourselves what exactly were happening. It's gathered from dozens of sources, but few, let's say, dangerous situation were happening. For example, to our DSOs, other company, not Ukrenergo, but still within electrical sector, was suffered from in Destroyer 2. Their networks was hacked and partially their substations were shut down for some time. So mostly those attacks comes from Russia or Belarus, but actually as for DDoS, we saw that a lot of attacks comes from well-known cloud services like Amazon, DigitalOcean, and others. Because of lack of time, I cannot cover all cases, but I choose 3 situations which I want to describe a little bit in detail. So first, this GPS jamming for clocks. It's not really a cybersecurity issue. It's more than, let's say, war issue. But still, it's very important for us. And we've been discussing with Steam and with a lot of specialists in this area. It's very interesting to think about and plan the mitigation tasks, how to, let's say, to deal with this problem in future. We are using the WAMP system. It's for electricity utility, very important tool. And this tool just measure the quality of electricity in each specific location. The frequency, the angle of the sinusoid, and so on and so forth. And the WAMP system sends the information with very precise timestamp. To receive those timestamps, we are using GPS clocks. So they just can provide very precise time information. And when GPS jamming starts, these clocks lose the GPS signal, it's obvious. And unfortunately, the most of models of those clocks don't send the timestamps at all. In a result, in our case, WAMPs in those locations go offline. But it's easy when it's only a GPS jamming. We've met with GPS spoofing as well. So the coordinates changed a little bit. And luckily for us, our devices recognize situation and the timing, and they go offline, instead change the times. Because as you understand, if the coordinates shifted a little bit, the real time is differ from those device, and we can receive problems with this specific unit. So GPS jamming or GPS spoofing, it's pretty serious problem. In our cases, it's connected with shelling the substations. So when this missile started, our militaries turn on their equipment to, let's say, trick the missiles to make them miss. But like collateral problem or problem for us, we have this situation with clocks. Another interesting case for us, we as TSO, we provide a lot of very specific services for our other company in Ukraine who are in the electricity market, and we host a lot of web services which are like tools to solve different kind of problems. And we've faced with a problem when one of our partner was hacked, and hackers steal a lot of logins and passwords. And they steal logins and passwords for some of our systems, and tried to penetrate our products, our services. They fault, but anyway, this is very important sign that let's say whoever wants to harm your systems may choose different approaches to solve those problems. And third situation, as I told, during this war in action, we've lost control over some of our substations, but those substations was equipped by our equipment, by our network equipment, technological OTN network equipment. Obviously, we've designed and built this infrastructure with all necessary precautions, but still, I mean, we, and I think everybody should, let's say, plan and think about possible situation when the physical equipment may be in hands of some bad guys, not very, let's say, friendly. And as, let's say, as a resume, we prepared few, let's say, ideas, but I think the most important is to understand and plan that something might happen. So you should be prepared for everything, for different scenarios of using or involving in your infrastructure, and you need to think about redundancy, you need to think about security, and you need to have some ideas how you would work or operate, react on different situations. So I think I'm done. Thank you very much, and I'm ready for your questions.